There's a strange belief floating around that peace only comes from distance. That if someone drains you, annoys you, or triggers you, the only fix is to remove them completely. Block them, ghost them, never speak again. And sometimes, yes, that's the right call. But most of the time, life doesn't work that cleanly. You still have to sit across from that coworker in meetings. You still love that family member, even though every conversation with them leaves you exhausted. You still want to keep certain people in your life, just not in the way they've been operating so far. So the real skill isn't cutting people off. It's learning how to stay in relationship with someone while no longer letting them dictate your internal state. That's a completely different ability, and it's one almost nobody teaches you. The first shift is understanding that you can set a boundary without giving a justification for it. Most people think boundaries are negotiations. They believe that if they say no, they now owe the other person a full explanation, and if that explanation isn't convincing enough, the other person gets to push back. But a boundary isn't a debate topic, it's information about you. If your sister asks why you're not coming to a gathering and you don't feel like giving a 10-minute account of your reasoning, "I'm not coming, but I hope it goes well," is a complete sentence. You're allowed to leave it there. The anxiety that makes people over-explain usually comes from childhood patterns where saying no was treated as defiance, so the explanation became a kind of apology in disguise. Once you notice that pattern, you can consciously choose shorter, calmer responses. Not cold, just complete. This connects directly to the second idea, which is the difference between access and availability. You can give someone access to you, meaning they're still in your life, still part of your world, still someone you talk to, while limiting your emotional availability, meaning you don't hand them your nervous system every time they're in a mood. Think about a friend who calls you in crisis mode every single week, always about a new emergency that somehow requires your full attention right now. You can still pick up, you can still care, but you don't have to absorb their emotional state as if it's your job to fix it. There's a subtle but powerful move here. You can listen with warmth while quietly asking yourself, is this actually mine to solve? Most of the time, it isn't. You can say something like, that sounds really hard, what do you think you'll do? Instead of immediately offering solutions, or worse, feeling responsible for their outcome. This one shift protects your peace without you having to withdraw from the friendship at all. The third idea is about the space between something happening and how you respond to it. Psychologists sometimes call this the stimulus-response gap, and it's one of the most practical tools that exists, mostly because almost nobody uses it in real time. Picture your coworker who makes a snide comment in a meeting, the kind that's technically polite but clearly meant to needle you. Your body reacts instantly, heat rises in your chest, your jaw tightens, and your instinct says fire back immediately. But there's a gap there, even if it's only 2 seconds long, where you get to choose what happens next. You can snap back and spend the rest of the day replaying the exchange in your head, feeling justified but drained. Or you can take a breath, let the moment pass, and respond later, calmly, if it's even worth responding to at all. This isn't about suppressing your feelings, it's about not letting someone else's tone decide your entire afternoon. The comment lasted 3 seconds, your reaction can last 3 seconds too, instead of 3 hours. Which brings us to the fourth idea. Something a lot of people struggle with because it goes against a very human urge. The need to be understood by everyone, especially the people who misunderstand you the most. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Some people are never going to see your side, no matter how well you explain it, no matter how many times you lay it out patiently and clearly. Maybe it's a parent who can't accept that your career choice wasn't a personal rejection of theirs. Maybe it's an old friend who still tells the story of a disagreement in a way that paints you as the villain, no matter how many times you've clarified what actually happened. The instinct is to keep trying. One more conversation, one more explanation, surely this time they'll get it. But peace often comes from releasing that need, not because you stop caring what's true, but because you stop needing their agreement in order to feel okay about yourself. You know what happened. You know your intentions. Their version of the story doesn't have to move in you like it used to. Letting go of the need to be understood by people who aren't equipped to understand you is one of the quieter, less talked about forms of maturity. And this naturally leads into the last piece, which is about protecting your energy the way you'd protect any limited resource, because that's exactly what it is. Think about how careful most people are with money. They budget it. They don't hand out large amounts to just anyone. They think before spending on something big. Very few people apply that same logic to their attention and emotional energy, even though those are just as limited. You don't owe everyone equal access to your time or your deepest thoughts. You can enjoy someone's company at a group dinner without inviting them into your personal problems. You can be kind to a difficult relative during the holidays without giving them a front row seat to what's actually going on in your life. This isn't about being secretive or fake. It's about recognizing that depth of connection is something you get to choose deliberately, not something you owe automatically just because someone is present in your life. What ties all five of these together is a single underlying idea. Peace isn't the absence of difficult people. It's the presence of a strong internal structure that doesn't collapse just because someone else is being difficult. You don't need everyone to behave well for you to feel calm. You don't need every relationship resolved perfectly. You don't need every argument or correct every misunderstanding. What you need is a clear sense of what's yours to carry and what isn't, a habit of pausing before reacting, and permission to give people less of you without giving them nothing at all. That's not coldness. That's not distance for its own sake. It's actually a form of respect, both for yourself and for the relationship, because it lets you stay connected to people without constantly bleeding energy just to keep the peace. So, the next time someone pulls at your patience, remember you have options that live between two extremes. You don't have to give them everything, and you don't have to give them nothing. You get to choose the amount, the tone, and the depth on your own terms every single time.